Trinity River, before the dams went up, it was a perfect river. All the salmon, the trout, sturgeon, it was all abundant. After the dams went up, it just sort of destroyed the rhythm of the river.
Today, the Trinity Reservoir is less important in the CVP than it has been historically, but it's still very important, and especially in times of shortage, where every drop counts.
We recognize that folks in the Central Valley have a livelihood also. The only thing that we take into consideration is that the rights of the Hoop Valley Indian Tribe are senior to any other rights out there.
The Hoopa's use of water for some of the things that are, have to do with their heritage, I think are very important, but maybe releasing 80,000+ acre-feet of water with no real scientific evidence, because you're worried about a disease in fish, I don't know that that's the best use of water.
In 2002, we had such a severe epizootic and very high mortality rate of the salmon that came back. Ick is a parasite that's found throughout the world. The danger is if fish school, if they don't move through the system, if they congregate, they tend to become infected and then shed the parasite among themselves. Basically, the parasite irritates their gills and they can no longer breathe and they suffocate.
That event is something that the Indian people here and folks in the community hold dear to their heart, something that was very painful and something that they don't want to see happen again.
Personally, I think a preventative water release has merit because it allows conditions that will keep fish migrating, so we won't have fish holding up in the lower river. It also has a track record of, in 2014, in which we had very severely infected animals, but we still had flows that they kept moving.
Fishermen that I've contacted, and they've all had concerns, and they ask me how the fish are. What do they look like? Is there disease inside of them? Is there the gill rot? Some of them have quit fishing because they heard that there was ick inside of the system, so they decided to quit fishing until either the fall run comes back and there's no evidence of it, or they're just going to hang it up for the season.
We can't lose sight of the fact that we're in a drought. We have the Central Valley Project on the one side of the mountain. We have the Trinity River on the other side. It's an integrated project, and therefore we have to be mindful of those obligations as well.
There is frustration with the choices that Reclamation of the United States are making to provide these releases. You have people who have suffered mightily for the protection of endangered species and could use this water desperately, and instead the United States is going to choose to release this water for non-listed abundant salmon.
If we have a full water supply, we would plant about 10,000 acres. This year we're right in about the 6,500 acre range. We've seen less ability on the west side to get water exported through the delta. We've actually had to call on our historic water right. 2014 was the first time in the history of the contract, and then we again had to call on that contract again this year. It was only really contemplated that that would happen if there was some sort of disaster that took out the pumping plants. It was never really contemplated that there would be a situation where that system would not be able to get us our full amount. We fallowed about 25% of our farm last year. We fallowed about a third of the farm this year. We've been really trying to keep focused on keeping employment for our guys. So we've had a lot of improvements that we've been doing, drip irrigation installations, which are very labor intensive, solar systems that we're putting in. There's a lot of pressure and a lot of sleepless nights, wondering if we're making the right decisions because we're extending ourselves in terms of capital. Water is the key to making these investments. If we are very uncertain of what our water supply is going to be, it's pretty hard to say, I'm going to make millions of dollars investment in drip irrigation systems, or I'm going to make millions of dollars investment in trying to power those with solar energy.
Reclamation has to take a holistic approach to the multiple demands, and we have to be very judicious on how we go about meeting our obligations.
We're trying to do what we can to keep our core group of guys here, because my fear is that if they leave, we might not get them back. It's a very frightening time. It's a new time for us that we've never really had to experience.
The Trinity River is something that we have in our blood. It's something that we cherish and will fight for.